Okay, so we are starting the discussion, and this is what we call the forum. I've told you that you can share your opinion on our platforms on social media. We are going to talk to the owners of the Fantasy Dome as we discuss the impact of their 20,000 capacity venue in Ghana's showbiz industry. His name is Leslie Quaynor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let me try if I'm getting this historical facts right. I have followed some foreign artists coming to Ghana, and at that time I heard an organization like Fantasy Entertainment bringing them to Ghana. Is that the same Fantasy Entertainment we are talking about?
Yes.
Wow. So how many artists have you brought to Ghana from the international land so far, if you have the list?
Well, we started with Rick Ross in 2010. Mm-hmm. We've had Movado, we've had Popcorn, Da Vinci. Mm-hmm. We've done as the latest one was Alkaline. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have a pretty long list.
Yeah, I know. I think I was part of most of these events, and I enjoyed myself very well. But then I asked myself, the guy who brought them, did he make his money out?
Unfortunately, one of the reasons why we got a venue is that our venues are very porous. And it's very difficult, from a stadium show or even a conference center show, which is very small, is to get the magnitude to bring international artists in. So that's the genesis of why we decided to get our own venue, which will be not porous and very secure, but also very comfortable from an AC and power and every perspective.
So are we admitting that really there was a halt in the artists we were bringing to Ghana?
Well, yes, because financially it wasn't feasible. And if you are going to pay to bring artists to generate more interest in the music industry, for example, bringing in a lot of the reggae artists to Ghana, I thought started the whole reggae kick in Ghana.
Because
if Shatta Wale can do songs with Alkaline and Stonebwoy can do songs with Da Vinci or any other, it gives them the energy to understand that they are almost better or the same as these world-renowned artists. And I think that starts an action within them to want to be better. And that's why they are the best, in my opinion, better than some of the international artists. So back to the venue, in bringing them, it's a lot of costs associated: travel, hotels, lodging, artist fee. So you have to get a business case in which it makes it profitable. And a stadium show, for example, it's very difficult. Logistics is very difficult. Production is very high. And, the gates are very porous. Security is always very difficult. It's a very large venue. And unfortunately, the security, the agencies don't help because at the gate is very easy to take much less of the money and let people in. And people jump the walls, they find a way in. So it's not a profitable venture. And I looked at it as an investment in just pushing, the musical agenda. But at some point, it was better to build our own venue, which can mitigate all those issues. And I think that's how Fantasy Dome became a project.
I see. So now that it is up and doing, are you telling us that we're going to enjoy these artists again from your stables, or now your investment is going just to the maintenance of the place and nothing else?
Oh, I would tell you this much. I mean, Fantasy Dome is the landlord. Fantasy Entertainment is still gonna be one of the best entertainment, industries here, because we're actually planning to go big, to go bigger and better. I mean, we're bringing Movado back this year. We're going to try to bring Drake back. We're bringing 50 Cent. We're going bigger, than before, because now you have the magnitude of scale. If I can put 20,000 people in one place, comfortable, air conditioned, I don't have to charge. The tickets don't have to be too expensive, right? It works for everyone. Now the market is open, to bring everyone in, but also bring the bigger artists in. And I think that's the next step.
So all the rumors we are hearing about Drake coming to Ghana, they are information from Fantasy Entertainment. Well, because I've heard it. Some people are, Drake is coming to Ghana soon. I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny or confirm it. But I'll tell you this much. Now we have the forum to bring Drake to Ghana. And now there is no excuse, because if on paper, on a spreadsheet, it makes sense. Because even at his fees, it makes a lot of sense to bring him because there's a venue that can hold enough people to support that business case.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the forum just started, and I'm talking to Leslie Queno. He is the owner of the Fantasy Dome, one very beautiful event place at the Trade Fair Center, where we can pack 20,000 people. If you were at the 3 Music Awards, I believe you witnessed the place. Very, very big. I'm sure they were only able to use a quarter or half of the place, and there were more spaces left. Now let's go back to the event. Which of these artists did you break even? I'm not saying profit. Which of these artists you have brought to Ghana did you break even, that at the end of the show you realize that at least what you invested, you got it back?
I will be honest, there hasn't been one artist that have broken even in Ghana before.
You don't mean it?
It's unfortunately just travel alone, flying artists in. They come in very large groups. You know, it's very expensive. I mean, one artist, just the business class fare is close to $8,000 to $10,000, and even just the travel alone, you'll be close to $20,000 to $30,000 budget. There is no way if you add the artist fee, if you add the production fee, the venue fee, the security. It was never a profit-making venture. It always looked good on the spreadsheet, but on the night of the event, even at the stadium, you know, you see 20,000 people, but you probably see money just for 6. And it's
see 20,000 people, but I see money just for 6.
Oh, yep, it's very unfortunate. But the gates are extremely porous at the stadium, and you know.
Then I can predict you've suffered broken hearts.
Well, several times, but once again, I am a visionary, right? And my aim was not necessarily to make profit. It was to push a musical agenda, which can get me to where I am today, is getting a venue that supports, you know, bigger artists coming in. And I want Ghana to understand, you know, we have big artists in Ghana, but sometimes to elevate your level, you have to be on the same stage with people that the world considers great artists. And I think, you know, putting Samini on the same stage as Movado did that. I think putting Shatawale on the same stage as Alkaline did that, right? And, you know, even something as putting Stonebwoy on the same stage as Popcorn and Javinci did that. So in order for Ghana to appreciate the artists better, which is I think what this is all about, right? Is let's start appreciating the artists much better. Let's start putting our energy and our money into our indigenous artists and stop, you know, spending our time and money praising, you know, Nigerian, American, British artists. I think we can appreciate that. But why would we spend our money on them and not on our own? And I think the only way to see that is to put them on the same stage and realize that Shatawale is actually much better than all the international renowned artists, in my opinion, right? You know, Stonebwoy gives them a run for their money, right? So I think that is the purpose here. I mean, the Drakes of the world and so on and so forth. You know, maybe Sarkodie can give him a run for his money, right?
Exactly.
So the only way is to let people see and experience that. And I think that's
so for how long have you been operating Fantasy Entertainment?
Oh, it was founded in 2008. So I guess we're in 10 years into this business.
Wow,
now.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
10 years doing entertainment business in Ghana. It's no joke. It's no joke. There are so many things involved. So I salute you. For how long have you been building the structure at Trade Fair? Where exact place is at the Trade Fair where we can locate?
Yes.
Where exact place?
So the exact location is right behind the round pavilion, which, by the way, is also
behind the round pavilion.
Yes,
okay.
Which is also part of the Fantasy Dome. So it's actually 2 event spaces in one. The Fantasy Dome is all-purpose, fully air-conditioned location right behind the pavilion, which is Pavilion F, within the Trade Fair. And the round pavilion also, we also completed full renovations of it. It's also ready for rental. It's a 3-floor. It's a beautiful structure. I mean, Kwame Nkrumah did an excellent job building. Unfortunately, it was left for dead, and we've completely resuscitated it. And it's also available for events. It's semi-indoor, outdoor. You know, we'll put a roof on it, and it's a nice place, and should also be considered for rental.
Is the Trade Fair a state-owned plot or structure?
I don't know the full legal element of it, but the Trade Fair belongs to the Trade Fair Company, which is a wholly owned government entity. How obviously the dynamics between the government and the La people, it's obviously it's in La and Labadi, so I'm assuming it's La lands. But currently or under contract, the government has full ownership or I guess control of it through the Trade Fair Company, which is a government-owned company.
I see. So in your case, the Fantasy Dome, is the structure yours, or the land on which the structure is also built is for you? You've acquired it legally with papers and all?
Oh, no. I'm just a tenant. I've leased it from the Trade Fair Company, which is the legal owners of.
For how many years?
For a significant 5 years to 10 years, based on the relationship. Yes,
it's like goodwill.
The trade fair is under a reconstruction there in the region, and I have to give kudos to the new CEO. She's brought a new breath of change, which is long coming, and so they're doing a redevelopment, and will in the very near future build it up. And I hope to be part of that going forward. But I am the first step into making the trade fair what it was again when I was a child.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
When we got there, we got information that the place is not even complete yet. Is it true?
Oh,
the
yes.
Fantasy Dome, I mean.
Well, it's I would say 60% complete, because it's a bigger vision, right? It has huge grass areas that we're gonna landscape for outdoor events. It has a lot of needs from lighting to that's still being developed. I think what we used for the 3 music was very well, but we had already put that in the schedule. But unfortunately, in Ghana, projects don't happen necessarily on time, so it's taking some time to get it done. But it will be completed very, very shortly, and it will be a sight to behold.
Okay. What other thing is left that you think maybe will add up to giving us 100% completion, since you said it's 60%, apart from the green grasses you talked about internally or inside the tent or the dome? What are the things we should come there next and we will see?
Well, one of the things that I want to give Ghanaian an experience of is a true VIP experience. And in my experience, 10 years in this business, you always buy a VIP ticket and you get to the venue, there is no experience. There is, you're rushed to a seat, which sometimes is right in front of the stage. And throughout the process or the night, as soon as the show starts, people that bought regular tickets rush past you, in front of you, stand in front of you, and there is no experience. And so one of the things that, because we have the space now, is creating unique areas within the dome that is exclusively for VIP, and it's as exclusive as their rooms, similar to you know in foreign countries where you have a booth or a room where you can bring your family, your friends, and experience a show together. And it's very high, elevated. Okay. So it's extremely exclusive, with your own butler for drinks, and even have access to flat screen TV that you can watch the show and not necessarily pay attention. So we're working on creating such experiences. So when you buy VIP or VVIP, which I don't know what the difference is really, you get the real experience that you paid for, from when you enter, from when you park your car, all the way to when you leave. And I think that's one of those things that we find very important to work on, because there has to be a difference in the experience.
I see. So what kind of events are you expecting to admit to the Fantasy Dome? Is it, can I just come at any time, just any event, or you have some selected or some proper events?
Well, it's an event. Firstly, Fantasy Entertainment will be doing their own events, but I think we're open to renting it. And once again, I don't want to just, Fantasy Dome is 150 meters by 60 meters. It's a flat open space, and it's not just for concerts. It's for conferences, it's for large dinners, it's for any space that needs to be indoor, air conditioned. I personally would like to do car shows. I want to do hair shows.
I want to do car shows within the dome?
Yeah, inside the dome.
Wow.
The dome can support. You can move. Probably it's as big as an aircraft hangar. At some point, I may want to put an airplane there. But I would tell you this much: I also want to bring the WWF. I want to.
Okay.
I want to bring.
You mean wrestling?
Absolutely, wrestling. I want to bring kids. Show.
Ghanaian wrestlers or foreign wrestlers?
Well, maybe we should start Ghanaian wrestling. but I want to bring Bonnie and Disney. Kids don't have a place to on a large scale. A good circus. But now we have the space. It's the ceilings are 20 meters high. So that's a 6-story building, right? So let's start bringing or open up an industry of not just entertainment, but using large spaces for beneficial. It's indoor, it's air conditioned, it's very comfortable. On Saturday, we have 30 horsepower air conditioners, and we only use 3, and people were complaining they were cold, but we have 12 in total. So we're never going to have an issue in terms of people sweating or being uncomfortable. So it's a space for anyone and everyone that want to use it. Churches, businesses, embassies, even the government. I'm willing to rent to them too.
Nice one. That is business, of course. Everyone is included. Yes. Now, I was about to ask power, your source of power, before you even talked about your 12 horsepower that you have there. These are plants.
Yes, so...
Or is it the ECG generated power for the place, or plants only for the dome?
Well, we work on, we actually, based on my experience once again in this business, not just on primary, secondary, but we have, a third source of power. So the primary source of power is I had to build my own 500 kVA transformer with ECG to primarily power this dome based on the size of the air conditioning and the power for production. The secondary source, we have 3 generators, 200 kVA each, that would also power, and that's the secondary is a 200 kVA, and then the third is a third 200 kVA. So power will never go out. Even if ECG fails us, we have the first set of power. If that fails, which it shouldn't because it's brand new, then we kick into the third.
I see. Yes. Now, I'm happy hearing all the 200K, the 500K, but then I'm thinking about the promoter who will be coming to rent the place. Will they be able to pay for all these?
Well, one of the things I think, once again, since we're changing the industry, one of the main things of this venue is it's all-inclusive, meaning that, and similar to venues all around the world except Ghana, just because the industry wasn't available, everyone rented space and then they bought in equipment, chairs. I used to have high blood pressure every time I did a show because the stage guy wouldn't show up until late and the light guy would sit there all morning, and that's why shows were late in Ghana, because it was you working at different vendors and everybody was on their own time, which was very bad. The truck would break down and it didn't work well. So for the first time, we have a full venue, all inclusive. We have our own lights, power, tables, chairs, LED screens. It's all inclusive. So a promoter now has to think about putting all the headache to the side and just worry about his act and his marketing.
One-stop shop.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's very important. And I know it's going to be difficult for them because it might sound expensive, but nobody adds the cost of their high blood pressure pills and the doctor visits that they have to go to
after the
event. But also more importantly, the timing, right? Because this is there, you don't have to wait to upload all your equipment. You can come and do your sound check on time, which is the day before or the day. Everything is already in place, and it's so efficient and so convenient. Even for the artists, we have a 6-room dressing room, fully bathrooms and flat screen TVs and a lounge area, so they can even feel comfortable to come in early. And that is one of the things that we're providing. So I want promoters out there to start worrying about the finance, because what they should be worried about is, can I get 10,000 people in here? Can I get 20,000 people in here? And that is actually the financial aspect of now turning a profit, because before you do the show in Ghana, you had to worry about sponsors. For the first time, I've given them the scale in which you say, you know what, how do I get 20,000 people in there? And honestly, at 20,000 people, at even at 50 cedis a ticket, That is
good
a
money.
million CDs.
That's good
So
money.
even if I charge them 200,000, that is a pretty good profit margin without sponsorship. And I think that is what I need promoters to start thinking about is a one-stop shop. Pay the money and worry about making your own money. And I think that's very important, because that's what happens anywhere else in the world. When you go to the O2 Arena, the Coca-Cola Arena, or even the Best Buy Theater or BB King's, you don't carry your sound and your lights and your chairs and your bathrooms. That is insane, right? So it's a cultural shift, and I understand that, and it will take some time. But that's where I want the industry to start focusing on is how do we make money by putting 20,000 people in here.
Getting some good information and education from Leslie Quino. They are the owners of the Fantasy Dome at the Trade Fair Center. That is the Round Pavilion. Behind the Round Pavilion, you should know this. Now, Shawnee Bills on this Facebook, I guess. Shawnee Bills from Facebook says, now that we have 20,000 capacity, I think gate fee should reduce. Fantasy Dome with 20,000 capacity shouldn't take some gate fee as AICC with 1,006 capacity. Now, Akwesi Pipra says, hope there are more emergency exits in case of a fire outbreak. I'm sure Kwesi Pipra will lead us into this question. Security, how is it like? Because he is asking whether there are more emergency exits. So before Leslie answers the question of security, you can also share your views, your opinions on all our social media platforms, and again on WhatsApp on 0266 660735 0266 660735. Let's talk about our 20,000 capacity with Leslie Quino. Yes, so he wants to know about security exits.
Yes. So just to answer that question, I mean, we're certified by the Ghana Fire Service. We actually have 10 exits. There's 4 doors on the sides and 2 doors on the entrance, which actually is more than most venues in Ghana because they're direct access. You also the whole dome is fire retardant. It's just one big space. There is no there's nothing to catch fire within the dome. It's steel sides.
The tent can burn.
Well, it's metal. It's metal. So
okay.
I mean, and it's sprayed to be fire retardant. So and obviously anything we do it in the safest possible way. If you were there on Saturday, there are fire extinguishers, 2 fire extinguishers, commercial size on each door. The exit signs posted. And one of the things that we're also doing as part of our training is before every show, we are going to show a tutorial, which has never been done in Ghana before.
Like boarding a plane, huh?
Yes, like boarding a plane. I think that's very important for large-scale events to let people know what to do in case of an emergency.
Wow.
So these are all things that we're doing to make sure that our patrons are very safe. Regarding security, and obviously on this Saturday, we're working with the Ghana Military Police, and we actually have our own private security that we have grown intrinsically over the 10 years of my business. They are being trained by the military police, and they are leading the effort with their discipline, and obviously, which is one of the issues that we've always had, is the discipline of the security, but also the dedication. So we are creating a special purpose event security team, and I think on Saturday, anyone that came would have recognized the effort and energy put into that. It was seamless, and I was impressed, and it's been a while since I've been impressed with security at any events in Ghana.
So imagine I want to use the Fantasy Dome, but then I want to come with my additional equipment, or I want to come with my equipment, like I want to come with my sound, my light. Does it mean I don't have a chance to use it since you are doing an one-stop shop?
Yes. Well, I would say this much. In anything, when you're creating a new cultural paradigm, you have to slowly ease people in. So the Fantasy Dome is large enough that we have one side which has been set up for full production, but there's another side. I mean, I don't think everyone can do 20,000 capacity. There's another side of it which can also hold up to 5,000 to 8,000 people. That is pretty much open. And for now, for a little period of time until people get used to it, I am willing to let them use that space. But my whole reason for bringing this space is to be a one-stop shop. So that's my strategic direction. But sometimes when you break into an industry, there is a whole industry that was created by people that rent equipment, and I don't want to take their business away. So I'm willing to work with them. If they are or have events, we can work together. But they also have to understand, just like, in any business, you have to, I guess, strategically go in the right direction for your business. That's how Apple and Google came and took over Windows. Yeah, you have to find a way to evolve.
Right. I know, right? Now on Twitter, Eddie Mason says, great job. Salute to the guys at Fantasy Dome. And Man Kuba says, the place is very huge enough for events. Big ups to Fantasy Entertainment. Okay, good. Somebody raised a concern last Saturday that imagine we have an event which will get about 20,000 people into the dome.
Yes.
If you are not lucky to come early to sit at the front seat and you go to the back, hardly can you see the stage, because the moment the performance starts and people get up to dance, you at the back wouldn't see. I don't know if this is a concern that has also come to you.
Well, it is. So strategically, when we do these larger shows, there are tiered seating that will be arranged for you to be able to view such an event. There will be an area created just for standing, because once again, even in foreign countries, once you're in a theater, you don't stand and block people behind you, because even in a tiered situation, if you stand, you're standing, right? So one of the things, which is another cultural shift for Ghana too, is we are going to create for such large shows areas for people that want to stand and dance the whole show. And if you are in a seat, you are advised to stay seated as courtesy to everyone behind you, because even in a tiered situation, when people do stand, you can't see anyway. Yes. So, but we're working through that process.
Okay, good. And let me read some comments from WhatsApp. This one says, good work done by Leslie and his team. This is what we need in our entertainment industry. The building is already being built. It's up to the event organizers to give us good shows. From Perry, Nana Sussex.